that I know you need to fire him to start with. He's a snake. If I had to fire every motherfucker out, guess what? I'm tired of this. They ain't happening no more. No goddamn more.
That's the voice of Columbus County Sheriff Jody Greene. He won his seat by 34 votes in an election that was so highly contested he'd been temporarily removed from office while officials settled the election disputes. That was the setting the night Greene called acting Sheriff Jason Soules, saying their office had a snitch.
Immediately after being appointed the interim sheriff, started to get a lot of phone calls from Jody late at night. And this one particular phone call that we received, he made the comment that he hated Democrats. And then he said, I take that back, I hate a black Democrat. And I knew right then, I was like, wow, this is coming from the sheriff. And I had to start recording those conversations.
Former Sheriff Lewis Hatcher was the first African-American ever to serve as sheriff in Columbus County. Greene says on the call he's specifically concerned that people in his office are leaking information to Hatcher and Melvin Campbell, another African-American officer Greene fired shortly after taking office.
It's stopping. Tomorrow's going to be a new day. I'm still the mother sheriff, and when I'll go up there and fire my goddamn self. Them black bastards. They think I'm scared. That's stupid.
It gets worse. After the sheriff explains that he's getting phone records from Verizon to trace anyone in his office who's called Campbell or Hatcher, he lets Soules know the plan.
We'll get the snake's head off. And Melvin Campbell's the biggest snake as Lewis Hatcher ever dared to be. Every black that I know, you need to fire him to start with. He's a snake.
Former Sergeant Melvin Campbell said he was so surprised when he heard this recording of the sheriff talking like this about him, he had to listen to it twice. Before taking the job at the sheriff's office, Campbell, who received the Order of the Longleaf Pine from the governor, spent 30 years as a highway patrol officer under Jody Greene's supervision.
And I worked with him, and it kind of shocked me. You know what I mean? That came out of his mouth. I thought we was friends. But with friends like that, who needs enemies?
In the months that followed, the only two black members of Sheriff Greene's command staff were demoted or fired. Soules says ever since making that recording, he's been working to bring it to the attention of county commissioners, court officials, the Attorney General, and the SBI over concerns that the county's most powerful law enforcement leader had a bias against black people.
And I was told to just keep documenting everything that happens so that we would have a paper trail of it, and we did.
But Soules said no matter who he and his supporters turned to, nothing happened. Soules is now running against Greene for sheriff and doesn't want people to think his actions are politically motivated. But he says people need to know the real